listening to Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
I just put the mic on. Hi.
Hey, you live your life. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
I have my winter coat on. Thank you for joining us for Season 26, Episode 1 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
This is Tappy.
I'm Jason.
And that's it, just the three of us.
Yeah.
In this episode, Len from Miami writes in about Fantasy Flight Games and Fantasy Flight Interactive. Joshua from Canada writes in about leveling and acquiring new abilities. And Leatherneck writes in with a horror story. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're on the social medias. We have a forum, happyjacksforum.com. It's happyjacksforum.com. And then on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, and MeWe, happyjacksrpg, all one word. And if you'd like to watch the show live, you can watch us at 7:20 p.m. on Friday nights, or plus or minus 20 minutes.
Hey, it's always 7:20 somewhere.
Yeah, right. Pacific time.
Is it though?
Yep. That's just math.
Right. All right. So, Fantasy Flight Games. This is from Len in Miami. Lem. It just made me think of Lemmy from Motorhead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, your Neil Peart died.
Yeah. So when I read that headline, I saw Neil Peart died. And partially died is what I read, and I thought it was like a Hard Times article. And I was like halfway through a
Mostly
humorous
dead.
response on the interwebs until I realized that wasn't it wasn't Peart. He wasn't Peart dead. He's all dead.
All the way dead.
Right. I won't say what I was thinking. I'm not a Rush fan.
Yeah, me neither.
I cannot name you a song.
I don't know if I can either. I know that there's an album that's called 20-something that's where a kid finds a guitar and a rock or something like that. And yeah.
I got nothing.
Do they do Wonderwall?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's chat. I mean, a lot of prog rock fans and RPGs.
Yeah.
So I'm sure someone
Yeah.
will. 2112 is the name of the album. And here they go.
Not it.
Oh my God, Tappy! Roll the Bone. That's a song, I suppose.
Okay. Right on.
Allegedly.
Or Roll the
man.
Bones.
A friend of mine took me to a prog rock concert once, and I've never seen a harder working drummer in my life.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it was a shit show.
When I had my garage band in the 90s, our drummer, Barbara, modeled her drumming after Neil Peart. That was her favorite drummer. And God's virtuoso.
Right.
And she had this drum kit with double bass drums, and it was gorgeous drum kit. Probably 18-piece kit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Wow.
And
She grew 2 extra arms just for it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good drummers are like octopuses.
Yep. And octopus are like good drummers.
Yeah, they both change colors
Yep.
when threatened.
Yep.
YYZ, Tom Sawyer, Subdivisions, Limelight. They're listing songs. There you go.
I've never heard any of these.
Neither have I. I think I may have heard of the song Tom Sawyer. Maybe I'm just thinking of the...
I know it from Rock Band.
Right. All right. So, hey kids, Len from Miami, originally New Jersey, here. Holy shit, Fantasy Flight just axed the entire RPG department. First and foremost, we're going to get into actually what we actually know here in a bit, but he brings up some interesting
Now,
questions.
do we know it was an axe? Was it a battle axe? Was it a great sword? Maybe a maul? That's my
It
favorite.
may have been a hatchet.
I think it's a Masakari because they do L5R, so it's the Japanese.
Most likely, yeah.
Probably in a long, protracted... or
a lightsaber.
Or, oh no!
Right. First and foremost, my heart goes out to all those amazing, wonderful, talented people who are now out there looking for work. I wish them well, and I hope they land on their feet as soon as possible, as do I. As do all of us. Does this mean that Fantasy Flight RPGs, most notably Star Wars, Genesis, the generic Star Wars engine, and Legend of the Five Rings are now dead game lines? It's too soon to tell, I think. Maybe, sorry, Canada. Maybe they will keep creating content through freelancers. Maybe not. Assuming they are deadlines, 2 questions. 1, what happened? Obviously, what happened was that the RPG department wasn't sufficiently profitable, but that seems surprising considering how effectively they milked the hell out of that Star Wars line. I mean, I don't know how many people actually played Star Wars. Well, that might be the problem. But from the outside, that looked like a pretty robust line. Was it too robust? Did the funky dice fatigue just wear people down or turn them off?
Yes.
And what about L5R? I know you guys don't love the new version. Maybe you weren't alone in that? Probably. I'd be fascinated to hear your thoughts, gossip, speculation, entirely unfounded rumors. 2, if these game lines are dead, will this affect the player base? I mean, they are RPGs, so it shouldn't. Once you have the rulebook, you can play forever. And yet, I've noticed that people, myself included, just seem less inclined to play dead games. I'll put dead in quotes, because we don't know. Barring the weird one-shots, like trying to play the original Top Secret, which is kind of like intentionally slamming your hand into a drawer for fun, but whatever.
I'm familiar.
Why is that? Is it some kind of subconscious communal thing? Is it about the lack of future adventures, supplements, or people to get into flame wars with? Is it that new releases serve to continually reinvigorate interest in a game line? And without that, we get bored and distracted if the new hotness or return to old standbys? By the new hotness or return to old standbys. Love to hear your thoughts and look forward to having this email mistakenly attributed to Uncommon Man. Thank you. Keep being the douchiest douches that ever douched. Len from Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just sort of frame what we know and what we don't know.
We've done research,
done
dear
research.
listener.
By we.
I mean, Stu. Stu did it.
There's a gentleman named Tim Garrettson who posted on his LinkedIn account, and he was, I guess, the studio head for Fantasy Flight Interactive.
Allegedly.
Well, there's been no denials. There's been no denials. So I'm assuming it's really weird that they haven't made any announcements.
It just sounds like a two-man job to me.
It's really weird. But he posted a thing. I'll read it. It's short. It's with great sadness that I have to report that the decision has been made to close Fantasy Flight Interactive next month. I'm proud of the team and the game we've dedicated ourselves to for the past few years. It's been an amazing journey with even more amazing people. I'm going to do my best to get my team placed in new positions. I have programmers, designers, artists, Q&A staff, and a producer to get placed in new roles, and will do my best to do so quickly. Additionally, I am now open to new opportunities myself, since I will also be out of a job. Now, Fantasy Flight Interactive was started in
2017,
I think. Because first there was a merger between a company called Asmodee, which is a French digital game company, at least that's my understanding, and FFG. And I think Asmodee made a title or two for FFG using their games.
Yeah.
And then the two companies decided to create Fantasy Flight Interactive. Yeah, in October of 2017. So that was its own entity, and it was a division of the two merged companies. So since there's been no, I mean, I think we can assume that this guy's post, because he's using his real name, and it looks like a legitimate LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
So I mean, and there's been no denials. There's been nothing that
Yeah.
I've seen from FFG at all on this.
It seems like there would be a press release. You
would think so.
Something little, a paragraph.
Exactly, but who knows? Maybe the person who would have been responsible for writing the press release got laid off, and they don't have anyone to write it.
Wait.
But and then there was also an article on Gamma Sutra that also mentions, and here I'm going to read this, is a source close to the situation estimates that over 10 people have been let go from Fantasy Flight Games, and that the customer service department and tabletop RPG departments are also expected to shutter as a result.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't put the thing in here, but the only source for this that I could find, now they're saying a source close to the situation. They may know someone that works for the company who's feeding them information. The only public thing I could find was this guy's post on Reddit saying that he used to work at FFG and he still knows a lot of people who work there, and that's the only public source I could find. Now that I'm not sure if they're using that one or if they actually have an inside informant. I'm not sure.
Is this the Sam Bailey Reddit post?
I don't remember the guy's name.
Okay. Because there's one I'm looking at right now that is by Sam Bailey, who has worked with Fantasy Flight Games in the past, said that most, if not all, the RPG department has been laid off.
Okay, that's probably the same post. Now, so I mean, who knows? And the fact that they're not saying anything is just weird.
Yeah, I mean, question one, we basically can't answer. Question one, what happened? Well, we know a bunch of people got fired, probably.
I mean, we can make some assumptions that FFG is a board game company.
Yeah.
In its heart and soul, that's what it does. That's what it does best. And the RPGs and the interactive stuff have kind of like been tacked on afterwards. So one could assume that if the company is just kind of like, okay, we need to get rid of the fat and get down to like what we do best.
Yeah.
That seems the most likely thing that happened.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the markup on board game pieces and board games in general is much higher. Like, the profit margin's way higher than hiring the artists and authors and layout designer, like everything that goes into printing a big, RPG book, which I've learned recently is not a high profit margin at all.
No.
And I think they thought they could sell accoutrement for their RPG, and that's how they would make their money. And it could be, and this is speculation, that they aren't making as much on that as they thought they would.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. I also would fall in the camp of people getting fiddly fatigue with the number of like counters and widgets and weird fucking dice that went into it that I was annoyed playing with, even though I really liked the base design of the system and like the lore and the way they wrote it. Like the production quality was phenomenal, but the annoying dice that I still couldn't remember what each symbol meant, a month into playing a campaign, and the skill trees and the just very sort of arcane old world design in 2017 was very strange.
Yeah, yeah. And, I mean, and it's. I mean, a lot of people bought those initial books or the starter sets and stuff like that. I mean, I bought all 3 starter sets and all 3 main books.
Yeah, I did too.
And a shit ton of dice, because got to have a lot of dice, and I didn't expect all the players would have them, so I just bought them, and put them all in a tub, and sent them, just grab what you need. But we played it, we ran a campaign, and it was like, it's not that fun.
Yeah.
But their production kept on going, and they had a lot of supplements come out. And those supplements had the same production quality as those main books, and they're spending a lot of money on that stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's not taking off and people aren't buying those supplements up, that could turn them upside down easy.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, for me, the weird dice, the fiddly add-ons, and the kind of strange design led to me not wanting to play the game. And I wonder, like, those are relatively easy things to modify in your design process, right? Like, those are extra. That I think the decision would probably include, I mean, this is pure speculation, but I'm assuming a board game company exec said, yeah, put more fiddly shit in there because cardboard costs nothing. And, put these little counters and make them need to buy our dice, right? Force that hand. And now we're also a dice company because we're a board game company. Okay.
And they had like the Star Wars game, what was it, X-Wing?
Yeah.
Those, but they have, yet again, their own dice, which aren't the same as the Star Wars RPG dice, which kind of irritated me.
Yeah, no crossover from that. Exquisitely designed board game, which I imagine that's probably still going to remain.
I haven't heard anything about the board game side. I imagine that's
just cheap as fuck to print those toys.
Right.
Yeah. I really hope they keep the L5R card game, because the fiction they're coming out with it is incredible.
Well, the card, because they do a lot of living card games, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, I only know that one.
I think they do more than L5R, I think. But I mean, I'm sure that's profitable, because there again, all you're doing is printing a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, I want this expansion, and with this expansion,
Yeah.
and with that expansion,
Yeah,
whatever.
the art can get heady for that, but it's still better than having to pay all the authors and
Right.
everything else.
And proofreaders and editors and all that. And
Yeah.
I mean, the books are well written, and I never found any typos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they weren't
just
afraid to
not
spend
fun.
money.
You
Right.
know, unlike the Shadowrun 6th edition that came out just in time for Gen Con and then immediately released a 20-page PDF of errata.
Oh,
I love that.
Speaking of people who don't know how to make a game fun,
Yeah.
like I finally went through that, and it's like, wow, I can see what they were trying to go for here, but they did not do enough development of this idea.
Yeah.
and
Or
instead-
playtesting.
or playtesting, but like, they're close,
Yeah.
but really not there.
And it's also clearly written by 15 different people who didn't have a show Bible.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, it was,
It's a shit show.
yeah, astonishing.
So let me just reiterate: we don't know what's going on because there's been no official word from FFG or FFI or.
And they would have called us, so
Yeah.
we know
I was
that.
actually going to call them.
Yeah.
And but then I read a couple of articles where people had tried like actual like gaming news
Yeah.
organizations tried calling them and didn't get a response. Well, you ain't going to answer my phone
Yeah.
call either.
Well,
Well, you should just lie.
we invite you to comment, FFG.
Yes.
You know, by all means, please.
Just tell them you're like the vice president or something. I'll answer your call.
Yeah, I'm the vice president of Happy Jack's RPG Empire, and now as far as like the dead game thing,
Oh yeah, that's interesting to me.
I know diehard fans of various games that I don't think are in production anymore.
Oh yeah, I know paranoia players. Like
Right.
that's a religion.
I love second edition Shadowrun. Mm-hmm. It's not. There's a lot of problems with it, but I think it's easy to just kind of like house rule a bunch of things that are problem in play. Because I love how the dice system works.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a new thing for that system since 1996.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for myself, like when Mongoose Traveler Second Edition came out, my Mongoose Traveler First Edition book, I don't think I've taken it off my bookshelf since.
Really?
No, I just haven't.
Yeah, I've completely ignored second edition
have you?
because I have first edition and I really like it. So
Right.
it may have things that are good, but I don't really care that much.
Right.
Yeah, I think the drop off in this, like, I think there are lots of people who will play a dead game. I think the drop off in this is that they're fucking fiddly, you know, lots of little pieces,
Right.
specialized dice, so you have to remember what everything means, and that is more effort than is necessary. You can tell the exact same Star Wars story, or L5R story, without those rules,
Right.
and so it's just harder to tell your story in that format.
I think there is another thing too. Like if a game dies halfway through its production, where it's like you do like Jedi and then like Rebel Alliance, and then it dies and you never get to Sith. Well, people who want to play Sith or have something to do with that, etc., don't have that information, but you have all this information about the other stuff, and it just kind of feels sort of lopsided and lame. And
Yeah.
if another one
Yeah,
comes
for
out, I'd
sure.
rather do it. If you get the whole entire thing and it like it's completed, you can still play it.
Right.
I like Apocalypse World First Edition better than Second Edition a lot more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so I'm just if there's new stuff comes out for that, or there is a third edition, I'll probably just ignore it and just play it first.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't play a lot of dead games. I don't think I do. I'm thinking back. I mean, when I got back into RPGs, there's a 4th edition for GURPS. Well, better buy them all up.
Yeah.
Bought a bunch of 4th edition GURPS books, and I didn't know. I don't even know if I still have my 3rd edition stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm also just so fascinated by what's happening in the indie developer world right now too. That there are just so many interesting things to look at. That for me to put the effort in to go get a dead game or like sit down and play this big fiddly complicated thing versus like the 15 things that I've kickstarted and haven't played yet.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I want to go play one of those instead.
Right.
Like there's just so many cool ideas out there that don't require a scaffolding of ridiculous complicated dice and rules.
Yeah.
I have a good friend who is running a Cyberpunk 2020 campaign right now.
Oh, really?
So, and that is an 80s game. That's
Right.
the original, like, Mike Pondsmith craziness.
yeah.
I don't know how he's doing it, but he's a really, really good GM, so he's probably figured it all out. Because that game itself, that's another game with, boy, do they not tell you like where to find information,
Yeah.
and it's all over the place.
Right.
And it's just, boy, they've gotten a lot better in recent times with how you put a book together.
Yeah.
And how you make sure people know where information is.
Yep. There's a lot of value in the modern design aesthetic.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. You know, this kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys, either of you have seen it. There's on Amazon Prime, there's a documentary called The World of Darkness. And
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
I think it was made last year sometime. 2017 or 2018, I'm not sure. But it's got like the original designers of Vampire the Masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about the fact that when they came out with New World of Darkness stuff, that people that they saw their sales. I mean, they were a big company for a while, and they saw their sales. Their sales were like steadily going up, and then when they sort of hit this crest and they came out with the I don't know if they call it second edition.
No, it was called New World.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff was different.
World of Darkness.
Yeah.
You watch the numbers start declining because people who were going to buy the old stuff already have, and they're not buying it anymore, and no one's buying the new stuff. That's when they decided to come out with the 20th anniversary editions, and then of course,
Yeah.
So I think I really, and if you look at that sort of as a model for how the success of a game or not. They touched on something and they designed something that people really liked, and then they fiddled with it too much and made it something that people didn't want to play anymore. And the main complaint, at least in that documentary, was the earlier stuff was about telling stories, and the Chronicles World of Darkness books was more about the game. That was sort of what people thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
they tuned up a lot of the rules in New World of Darkness. It was smoother, more, what's more even, like the different classes. It was sort of like what 4th edition did, D&D, where all of the classes kind of felt the same.
Right.
Yeah. People felt less special with their stuff.
And what they were trying to do was that thing of where, in a video game, all the classes feel fair. Because if one class is way better than every other, then why would you play that?
Right. Why would you?
Why wouldn't you play Tremere?
Right. Exactly. Right. So I mean, I don't. By the way, the World of Darkness documentary is interesting to watch. It's kind of funny because unintentionally because they really
they invented vampires.
Right. Well, they don't go quite that far. They do acknowledge that Bram Stoker existed. They don't acknowledge that Anne Rice existed.
That little book.
Right. So no. And I mean, and that's really, I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of the first fiction that I'm aware of about vampires that really kind of humanizes vampires.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Was Interview with a Vampire. That was Interview with a Vampire.
Well,
I
mean, there's some really early ones. Like there's one called Carmilla, like way back even before Dracula.
Oh, really?
That is, there's this young female vampire's like kind of friendship with somebody, and so there's a lot of humanization there, but also the like finding out more and more how much of a beast and monster this person is.
Oh, okay.
And that person trying to fight against it.
So
like
even,
a lot of those themes.
So it goes back even farther than Anne
before,
Rice.
or before Bram Stoker.
Wow. So that's like what, mid 19th century or?
Oh,
because
gosh.
Bram Stoker was like what, in 1890s or something.
I think Carmilla was really old. I don't know. I can look it up. I have the internets.
There's no way to know. We'll go to the library tomorrow and look it up in the card catalog.
Oh, there you go. Got a card. I found an old card catalog for like $10, and I wanted to get it, but I have no place to put it.
What would you do with
little
it?
drawer?
Dice and shit like that.
Oh, okay, sure.
Wouldn't that be fucking
Yeah,
awesome?
okay.
I don't know if the sides of the drawers are tall enough. Are they?
I mean, the cards are like that tall.
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. I think the reason that I don't 1872.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I don't like playing dead games is because there's never going to be anything new for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, I mean, there doesn't have to be. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've almost never used anything but the core rulebook for L5R 4th edition.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I have a few of other books, and I've used a little bit here and there, but I didn't have to. I could have. You easily read hundreds of campaigns with just the core rules, but I think it's because it's dead. It's like there's no future for it. It's never going to improve. You're not going to see, like, if there's problems with the system that you wish they would fix.
Well, yeah, and
there will never be
them.
a new edition.
And I think if you look at that critically, it's also why did it go dead? You know, that it went dead because not enough people bought it, because not enough people like it, probably because there may be some sort of critical flaw with the game,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That is universally felt, or at least almost universally felt, that enough people went, well, I don't like playing this game, I'm not going to buy the expansions for it, and then sales dropped off and the company said, this isn't worth it to keep making. So,
Now, Heavy Metal Jess says that indie publishers these days are making great content for dead games. Certainly, I mean, the OSR
yeah,
thing.
for sure.
There's a lot of content for, like, white box edition D&D and
Sure.
earlier versions of D&D. Absolutely, in that case. I wouldn't call those dead games, though. Those are just earlier editions of a very live game.
Well, I mean, first edition D&D is dead. Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to get a first ed, update.
No,
Yeah,
well,
I definitely would
but
say
you-
that.
But you did. You got second edition.
Well, but I mean, you
The
were
li-
talking about
what I mean
Mongoose.
is, the line isn't dead.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't call D&D a dead game by any
No.
stretch. But like, I don't play first edition Shadowrun anymore either.
Right.
You know, I like fifth edition because it does some things that I like, and it paved over some other things, and it's a garbage fire in some others that I was able to just close the dumpster and roll it down the alleyway.
All right. So we don't know.
Yeah.
There's no official word. Maybe there will be someday, or maybe there won't. Who knows?
The Illuminati did it.
Maybe they did close down the RPG section and like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that anymore. And they're like so done with it, they're not even going to send out a press release. Who knows?
That's wild.
Or it may just be in the process of it. I don't know. I don't know how this works. I've never worked for a
It
corporation.
usually takes a day or two to. You write up a press release, give it to the managers. Managers look at it. Maybe they show it to the legal department if you have a legal department, and then they approve it, and then you send it out.
Yeah, but normally that comes out the same day you fire everybody.
Yes, yes. When I was laid off from McDonnell Douglas, it was the layoffs were in the paper the next day.
Yeah.
And every because I was in the third wave of layoffs, and the first wave was like 15,000 people got laid off.
Maybe the RPGs are doing so poorly they just hope no one will notice.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, that was shitty.
You know, I feel bad. I
feel bad for them.
I feel bad because, I mean, and we talked about this outside. It almost looks like with the Star Wars line that they were designing the game with the digital conversion by FFI in mind.
Yeah.
With the skill trees.
Yeah,
and-
video game, the tabletop RPG.
Yeah, that's all. It almost seems like kind of like a similar mistake that 4th edition D&D made.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and they just didn't have the. I mean, Wizards of the Coast had a lot of money, and so if 4th
And
edition,
momentum, you
Right.
know. Just by Wizards of the Coast saying, we want to fix this and make 5th edition, and also did the incredible amount of, like, play testing and community outreach that was missing from 4th edition. You know, they like, fixed all of the things that went wrong into 4th edition, like talking to the community, doing play testing, getting feedback, including, you know, like, actually the team became more diverse between 4th edition and 5th edition. Like, they took a lot of steps to make the game better, which was, you know, and they're still on that path now. So,
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Len from Miami, for the email, and we're sorry if people from FFI or FFG actually got laid off.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, cheers to you and best of luck moving forward.
Skill growth from Joshua in Canada. Who would like to read that?
I will read this one. Greetings to Venerable and the Apostles of Douche.
Some people read my name and actually see Venerable.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what I
think
thought
he-
it was first when I first saw it.
Very common, which is a weird last name. That'd be like Great. My last name is Great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Or
Yes.
The Great.
With great regard.
And yeah, I mean, nobody pronounces my. I mean, there's a reason I go by Tappy.
Right.
Nobody can pronounce my last name. I've been a listener for a very long time. 9 years, I think, something like that. Wow. Long enough, I remember Tappy and Bruce being on the show and wish they did their own spin-off podcast full of math, mechanics, and mayhem. Sigh, one can dream. Oh, man, that would have been a shit show.
There's still time.
I mean, we would think we were funny.
There's always time for a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's true. That's a good shirt.
Yeah.
There's always time for a bad idea. Anyway, I am writing in because I was listening to season 25, episode 15, had something to suggest about leveling up. People were in general complaining / lamenting about the leveling up system because of spontaneous ability acquirement and such. In response to that, I thought of a way to possibly make that work. Granted, for this approach, you need players to buy in and be willing to RP a few extra things. I work in engineering, and I'm not very good at stringing a lot of non-technical wordy sentences together. That opening paragraph gives me the shakes. So I'm going to finish the only way I know how.
Well, kudos. That was well done, actually.
I like the word usements you structured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Word usement.
Yeah.
It's usement, not usement.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Let's not be silly. Integrating leveling up mechanics into roleplay. Have abilities that are acquired at level up manifest in a way that makes sense RP-wise. For example, a monk's slow fall ability doesn't manifest until a session or two later when he takes a tumble off a cliff and uses his martial abilities to position himself in such a way that helps him control his fall. Boom, slow fall acquired. A cleric's new divine ability to heal manifests when she is in battle, and one of her comrades takes a heavy hit, and she reaches out to her deity to intervene. A ranger gets their animal companion by helping the ferret who has eaten some bad mushrooms and is tripping balls.
Poor baby.
He eats some mushrooms himself, and they go on a magical journey together. No,
Yep.
they form a bond over the care for the creature. So you can see why having player buy-in is key, but as long as it makes sense to the players and GM, I think this kind of approach can ease the leveling up process into something a little smoother than Kimmy's leveling up noise. What is that, the...
No. she has like a bloop sort of thing. Yeah, something like that.
Did you ever play Dark Tower as a kid? Do you remember that board
think
game?
so,
It
yeah.
had some great noises to it.
Is that the one that had the little
Yeah.
thing in the electronic
Oh, yeah, my
tower?
friend had that. Yeah.
It was like, da-na, da-na, and like
Yeah.
when you lose, like, da-da.
Yep.
I
Win,
remember
da-da,
that very well.
da-da. And when you lose, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
We need that in a fucking game. Did you
Well,
find it yet, or am I still vampy?
Go ahead. No. I'm looking for something else. Go ahead.
Oh, you are? Okay.
No, I'm looking for something else.
Actually, this reminds me a lot of in Traveler. They do, like, at a certain period of weeks, you need to... If you have the XP for something new, you actually have to spend time learning it.
Right.
Before you
Yeah.
actually have it.
Shadowrun 5th edition has a chart for learning stuff, too.
That all seems to me like a lot of work to...
Some people like that
Some
stuff.
people like it. Some people judge these. But this is actually even different than that, where you have to spend like X number of weeks learning things. It's just like the idea.
There's more there, too.
Oh, there is. I will address some of the rebuttals I can think of. I got distracted. Most people will only try something because they know they have the ability. Like the monk who knows he has slow fall will use a different approach to scaling the cliff than one who doesn't know.
Definitely will not jump off the cliff if I don't have slow fall.
Right. If you don't know you have
Yeah.
slow fall.
The monk proactively states that ahead of time that they will be descending cliff, concentrating on their body positioning and control.
Whee!
What if they don't use an ability for a long time? Oh well, that's their choice. What about ones that are extreme leaps and changes? Spread them out over roleplay. Use them when they are needed / make sense. Rogue specialization ability. This allows them to not have to choose skills right away. If they find themselves using a certain skill a lot, they can then choose that skill, since RP-wise it makes sense. I hope I'm making sense, and I hope you guys find this useful, or someone does anyway. One day, I will write an email about how listening to you guys changed my life, but right now, I'm at work and have taken enough time. Thanks for everything, you guys. Through the years, I feel like I've gotten to know you on some level, to the point anyway that I was watching Hell's Kitchen with my wife, and Foxy Boggers were on it, and I exclaimed, "I know them."
Yeah, we were on Hell's Kitchen. That was
I know
a year or two ago now.
Yeah?
Yeah. God, we filmed that so long ago, I'd kind of forgotten that we did it.
That's pretty cool.
Because it was in Burbank, I think, and it was in like December of 2014 that we recorded it,
So
and I don't
long
think it got
ago.
released until 2017.
Wow.
Because they do 2 or 3 seasons a year, and they're just cranking them out. I mean, and it's a neat facility. I'll tell the story. Should I tell the story? Oh, go ahead and finish the email.
No, we'll finish that. P.S. I know it's not an actual postscript, but I haven't figured out how to work around my signature yet, which is what this is about. Sorry about the signature. It's automatic from work email, and I'm not sure how to remove it.
Yep, you probably can't. It's hard coded in.
Right.
P.P.S. I love you, Tappy. Aw, thank you. Don't tell my wife.
Done.
But, or should I?
Porque no los dos.
Kindest regards and a thankful heart, Joshua.
Well, that was nice.
Thoughts on that? Thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I know I was probably, I don't know if I was on this episode, but I have lamented the chunky nature of any sort of level up in a tabletop RPG, right? Because I grew up in point-based systems of Palladium, GURPS, Shadowrun, buy everything with points, buy everything incrementally. Oh, have you used your pistol skill a bunch? Oh, you should probably up it because you're using it all the time.
Right.
Not just like, all these months I could do X, and then suddenly today I have all these extra things. I have lamented this exact problem, but now in picturing this, I'm also thinking, like I'm playing a monk right now, and I'm thinking, I've been waiting for Slowfall. I want it.
Oh, yeah.
And I want it now. Like,
So you've been practicing Slowfall this whole time.
yes, yeah. Like I want to retroactively apply the training, but because I'm thinking like I already don't love this kind of mechanic. I'm like, if I have to use it, I at least want the full benefit
Right.
of getting it. But I mean, I totally get where this is coming from. This is a really good idea to sort of work that into your campaign,
I wonder if you could do that. Do what he's talking about, but doing it
but
prior to leveling
yes.
up.
Yeah, like, okay, everybody, make a list of what you're going to get on your next level and make some sort of RP point of, to that
Right.
idea before you level up.
Yeah, because when I've run D&D, which is really the only level-based game I've run, players are chomping at the bit to use that shit once they level.
Yeah.
And if you tell them, no, we gotta wait.
Yeah.
Then,
Or my extra spell slot, or my,
Right.
my extra,
Oh, yeah.
my increase in HP, I think I'll take that right away. Thank you.
Right. Or maybe you roll that die if you're playing hardcore and you're rolling your hit die.
Sure.
Maybe you roll that die when your hit points get low.
Yeah. I really like the idea of the rogue expertise picking later.
Yeah.
As you're using something a bunch, like that's gonna.
And it also makes it more useful for the campaign because you're using it more often. It kind of
Yeah.
sucks to I'm an expert in acrobatics, and then you never.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's not what our campaign's about. We don't climb on things.
Yeah. We've spent the last 12 months inside this castle. And It's
Right.
all intrigue.
Right.
So, all right. So, thank you, Joshua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell a very brief Hell's Kitchen story. So I got this call from a guy who used to be one of the entertainment directors at Renaissance Fair, and I'm not sure what his position is there, but he works on the show, has for a long time. And he calls me up one day or texts me or something and says, "Hey, I have this position at Hell's Kitchen. We were supposed to have some singers come in for this episode about pirates, and they backed out at the last minute, or they couldn't do it, or something happened. Can you guys do it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, probably. What do you need us to do?" He says, "Well, we're going to have like 8 songs that we're going to need, and they got to be short. I mean, like 10, 15 seconds. and they're about, and he gave me a list of fish, and they have to be about these fish.
Okay. Yeah.
Different kinds of fish you eat. So I'm like, okay. So we had and it's like, so when is this? You're recording on Thursday. Or filming on Thursday, shooting on Thursday, whatever they say on the TV.
Yeah, but you can write like 9.
Well,
30
we
second
used
songs.
existing songs.
Oh, okay.
We just changed the lyrics. So we sat down. We had a rehearsal sometime before then, and we sat down and figured out which songs, like choruses, would be good for each one. And we sat and then we broke up into groups. And it's like, okay, everyone write the lyrics for this thing with this fish for this song. And we did all that, and then we came back and we rehearsed them all, and they sounded fine. And we figured out we'd give ourselves a chord, and then we'll start singing it. So then we show up to the place, and they have us in a green room, and then the director, I think it was the director, he comes in and says, "Can I hear what you got?" And like, sure. And then we do one of the songs. Says, "Yeah, you need to cut that down to like 1/4 the length. We'll come get you when we're ready to shoot." He leaves. So we're like, oh fuck. Now we're trying to figure out, okay, we have to, now these have been like 4 to 8 line things. Now they have to be like 2 line things.
How do you get a song going in 2 lines?
It's just a little quick quip about some fish.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, the sailor's life is a life for me.
Right.
And that's it.
Right. But if you can watch the show, you can hear most of them. They didn't use all of them, but they used some of them. What will we have to eat? Bluefin tuna.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, right? So, and we were then we're in the middle of writing this, and they came and got us not 3 or 4 minutes after the director left. So we are literally writing these things as we're walking out to where we're going to shoot.
I mean, there are only 2 lines at least, so you can just like agree on what it is and just.
I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we did it.
That's amazing.
But by the time we all got up there, I mean, they put us on this boat because they built a boat, and we're all in costume, and we're all standing on this boat, and we're still going. Okay. Now here's how it's going to work. One person starts the thing. Everyone's going to have their fish. You do the first line, and then everyone else comes in for the second line.
Right.
But we decided all this as the cameras are moving and the mics are getting placed and all this stuff.
Wow.
I want this to like actually be you're on like some sort of music competition and they hadn't told you and everybody had to do this.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Right. Now you know
It's
what
like Hell Studio.
Right. Yeah. Now you know what. Now I know kind of what kind of pressure those cooks are under.
Yeah.
Those chefs are under. And I also got to meet Gordon Ramsay.
Oh,
He's
neat.
very nice. Tall.
Oh,
Really?
I
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
I would say probably 6'4".
Whoa.
Yeah.
never
And
picked
he also
up on
smelled nice.
I've heard from multiple people that he's very nice. And as someone who's worked in the food industry, I can also imagine learning how to tell people what the fuck is wrong with you, get the fuck out of my kitchen in 87 different ways.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
there's so much pressure to get everything out perfectly right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And the timing is so
Yeah.
critical. Like,
Yeah. So I can imagine how a very nice human being would learn how to just be horrific.
Right.
Because fuck the food industry.
Yeah,
Right.
that too.
And I remember they told us he's very serious. He says we need to. We're going to do some safety stuff first before he comes out, because Gordon likes to do the show without interruption.
Oh, okay.
So they took some safety ones in the beginning, and then we did the thing, and then we left during the commercial break, and that was it.
Huh.
And then I went to work. And they shot at like 7 a.m. too. But anyway, so yeah, that was that. I don't remember what season, what episode it was, but if you look up Hell's Kitchen Pirates,
Yeah.
you'll find us.
That's cool. I'll have to go look that up. Shall we read the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
All right.
Unfriended Face to Face, a horror story from Leatherneck.
That's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, right?
I think it is.
Leatherneck?
I have no
Leatherface.
idea.
Oh.
That one's leather jaw.
Their jaw.
I don't know. Okay.
Leather knees.
Leather septum.
Leather Kenny.
So,
Pitter patter.
Unfriended Face to Face. A little context first.
Right.
In the late 70s, I was a member of a community college gaming club. We were official enough to collect dues, vote in members, and have an embezzling scandal. Yeah, that sounds right. The youngest member of the club, let's call him Kid, had just entered high school and was often ignored because of his age and excitement of being with older guys. I made the effort to include him in things. I ran and went to his house for one-on-one gaming. I pretty much tried to make sure he felt included. Awesome. That actually deserves a medal right there.
Yes.
Anyone who's like helping getting young people into the hobby is awesome.
Especially in the 70s, because we were very cliquish in the 70s.
And we still kind of are in some ways. So, roughly 2.5 decades later, I had a regular group of 5 meeting at my house to play RuneQuest 3. 3 of them were members of the long ago disbanded club. That's actually awesome. 30 years of gaming friendship. Oops, 40 years.
Right.
What are you talking about? It's like 2007.
The other 2 friends were from high school. Jesus Christ. This RuneQuest campaign had been going steady for 5 years, and I was quite serious about it. We had multiple plots, connections with powerful NPCs, a strong faction actively out to kill them, and an enemy of my enemy ally. That's cool. That's some complex plot. I love it.
Yep.
One night, Kid walked in. Walked in with one of my players that was a founding member of the old gaming club. Hey, guess who is in town? I invited him to play. I go with the flow and whip up a new PC for him and explain the rules that he had no idea about. A couple hours in the night's adventure, one player was trying to make stronger tires with the enemy of my enemy when Kid decided to attack them. As I was serious about in-game consequences, this wrecked all chance of an alliance for the players. We dealt with some of the fallout and finished the night's gaming. Everyone left, and I was not happy.
Yeah. Good for sticking to your guns, though, about in-game consequences.
Oh, let me just say, it was a 2017. It was when it was done. It's called the 7 Seas episode.
Okay.
7 Seas challenge.
Cool.
Sorry,
Fast forward about a year and a half, and Kid is back in town for a visit. He joins the same player for an afternoon of bar hopping and arrives unannounced to surprise me. Mm-hmm. I warned him not to go off the handle and wreck it for everyone else again. That's very straightforward, clear communication.
Yes.
That's the thing I was going to say at the end. I was like, well, we have to communicate with our players clearly and forthrightly. I'm like, oh, you did.
Right.
I expected him to behave like an adult. Okay. I mean, he is a grown-up, right? Mm-hmm. But I was wrong, and he did it again. Mm-hmm. I accept that fooling me a second time is my fault, but capital C, capital O, come on. You would think I learned my lesson. Ha! Not me. Roughly a year goes by and his visit back home was on a gaming night again, and my player, the friend and the club founding member, brings Kid with him again.
Okay, that's when you tell him, if you bring him again, I take a finger.
Oh, wait. Just wait. I contemplated telling him to leave, but my good friend was his ride.
Oh, no.
So I warned Kid again, but more sternly.
Mm-hmm.
An hour or so into the night, he randomly attacks the King's Guard in the Great Hall with everyone's favorite boy king present. Having served in the Marine Corps, I provided him some colorful language, and I put my RuneQuest material away. I got out Avalon Hill's Naval War to finish the night's gaming and targeted Kid's ships without mercy. Amen, brother. When I walked everyone out so I could lock up, I told Kid he was no longer welcome in my house or at any game I ran. I told my good friend that if Kid was in town on a gaming night, he had to choose between gaming or drinking with Kid. I haven't heard from or seen Kid since that night, and I am fine with it. Leatherneck. P.S. Take a drink like an 18-inch 4-point salvo hitting the 3-point graph speed.
I don't know what that means.
It's both.
Yep.
I don't have anything to drink. I'll owe you one.
Yeah, I've been in a couple situations where one, we had to uninvite somebody. Another one, we kind of just let the group fizzle out because somebody was so awful.
Yeah.
It's horrible when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. And Kid isn't even using my hated phrase, but it's what my character would do.
Right.
Which I'm all for, being in character and having in-game consequences. But if what your character would do would completely upset and hijack the game from how everyone else's play, have your character do something else.
Have a different character, maybe.
Yeah, have a different character. It reminds me of my, 15-year-old Shadowrun characters where, everyone was a sniper hacker Wolverine, and a lone wolf and didn't need anybody, and I was going to go off by myself while everyone's making a plan and just kick in the doors.
Right.
Don't.
Yeah. This reminds me when I was 15, and L5R first edition was like the shit. We were playing it all the time. And the Crane book had come out, and I had figured out how to make a martial artisan. Whereas an artisan, I made flower arrangements and did dance and shit like that. But I'd figure out how to use those abilities to fucking kick ass. And I was so excited about this. And we had a court game. I'm like, this is perfect. I can go into this court game and I can fucking kick everybody's ass. Turns out, you're not supposed to do that in a court game.
No.
And so I did that. And our GM, my buddy Mitch, was like, hey, man, you got to leave the game. I was like, but, yeah, you won, and you're being sent home, and I'm just going to replace you. Well, that's fair. That's fair. He goes, that's not what this game is about. Yeah, you got a point. That was pretty cool, though. But yeah, I mean, that's what you should do. I'm sorry, you can't be in this. He didn't even give me another. It's like, you need to make a new character. He's like, you can't be in this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And good on him. That was the right choice.
That's what he should have done the first time.
It's just the idea that you would have everyone there, you're talking to the king or whatever, and somebody just goes, I turn and attack the guard.
Right.
Because you're fucking bored and you want to wreck everyone else's night.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even matter if your family was killed by Castle Guard and, that's your whole backstory. Even a realistic person with a blood vengeance would find a better way to murder Castle Guard, And, it's just indefensible in hijacking the story and the campaign.
Yeah, especially if it's a long-running campaign and you're there as a guest.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes it. I mean.
But I've seen even long-term players just either get tired with the story or just decide I have to do this extreme thing because it's what my character would do.
Right.
And everyone's going but do you?
Yeah.
Do you have to? This completely upsets all of the work and fun and planning and story that we've built together. And with this one act, it will undo and make pointless everything we've done up till now.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't.
Right.
Maybe we can just capture you and turn you in, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. That's shitty. Going into somebody's game and just wrecking it is fucking bullshit.
Yep. Agreed.
I agree. All right.
Well, we fixed it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leatherneck, for the email.
Yeah.
We love horror stories.
I've been there.
You got horror stories, jamming horror stories, your own horror stories where you're the horror.
Oh yeah, maybe you're a reformed horror, which
Yeah.
is different from a reformed horror. That's also an interesting story.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can send those too.
Yeah, I'm for Happy Jack's Nights.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna play. I wanted to put the other one back up because I found my hat.
Oh, man.
Yeah, good for you. That's if you're not watching, you should tune into the timestamp.
I love this hat. It's warm.
Let them sing.
They can't hear us.
We're listeners of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast.
Thank you for joining us for season 26, episode 1 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
This is Happy.
I'm Jason.
And we'll see you next Friday at 7 p.m.-ish Pacific time. And I think we're doing Call of Cthulhu on Sunday at 4 o'clock. So thank you very much. We'll leave you with a song.
And maybe East Timor be a dread so exalted. Girls or dungeons and dragons. Hero, pathfinder, fate or savage wilds. Evil plots will be usurping. Though we could do with less burping. Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebags all.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire. You dress in the manner of a male prostitute.